The helicopter squatted on the tarmac like a restless animal, rotors ticking as they cooled, paint dulled by years of sun and dust. The hangar doors were half open, letting in a blade of afternoon light that cut across the concrete floor. A handful of officers lounged nearby, laughter bouncing off the walls, boots scuffing oil stains older than any of them. "Fly this helicopter and you will own this," one of them said, tossing the keys from hand to hand like a dare. The others laughed, not the friendly kind, the kind that expects failure and is already enjoying it. The woman they were laughing at stood a few feet away, hands clasped behind her back, posture straight. Her name was Aisha Coleman. She wore a plain gray jacket over a black shirt, jeans scuffed at the knees, hair pulled into a tight low bun. Nothing about her screamed spectacle. Nothing about her invited mockery, except that she was black, calm, and unbothered in a room that had already decided she didn't belong. "You serious?" another cop said, smirking. "You even know what half those switches do?" Aisha looked at the helicopter, eyes tracing its lines, the tail boom, the rotor mast. She breathed in, slow and steady. "I know enough," she said. That sent them into another round of laughter. The first cop, broad-shouldered, red-faced, jerked his chin toward the cockpit. "Then go on. Prove it. You fly it clean around the perimeter and back, it's yours. Paperwork and all." He leaned closer, lowering his voice. "But when you mess up, don't cry about it." Aisha nodded once. "Deal." The laughter stuttered, confused by how quickly she'd agreed. A few exchanged glances, as if waiting for her to hesitate, to ask questions, to back out. She didn't. She walked past them, boots echoing, climbed into the pilot's seat with an ease that wasn't flashy but wasn't clumsy either. The cockpit smelled like hot metal and old leather. Her hands settled on the controls as if they'd been waiting for her. Outside, phones came up. Someone wanted this on video. Someone always did. "You got 5 minutes, the red-faced cop shouted. "After that, you're done." Aisha slid on the headset. The world narrowed to the hum of systems waking up, the quiet conversation of gauges and needles. She closed her eyes for a brief second, not to pray, not to panic, but to remember. She remembered heat shimmering over sand. Remembered instructors who didn't smile and didn't care who you were as long as you could fly. Remembered the first time she'd lifted off solo, the ground falling away like a held breath finally released. Her eyes opened. The engine whined, then roared. The rotors spun faster, air churning, dust lifting into a swirling halo around the skids. The laughter outside faltered. She doing this for real?" someone muttered. The helicopter lightened, then lifted cleanly off the ground. Not a wobble, not a scrape, just smooth ascent. Aisha eased it upward, hands steady, feet dancing on the pedals with practiced precision. She brought it into a hover, holding it there, perfectly balanced. Outside, mouths hung open. Phones stopped recording as people forgot what they were trying to capture. Then she moved. The helicopter slid forward, graceful, banking slightly as she turned toward the open sky beyond the hangar. The perimeter road curved around the compound, a ribbon of asphalt and fencing. She followed it, altitude consistent, speed controlled. It wasn't flashy. It was better than flashy. It was correct. Inside the cockpit, her face remained calm, but her mind was sharp, alive. Every sense tuned to vibration, to sound, to the subtle feedback through the controls. This machine spoke, and she listened. Below, the officers ran to keep her in sight, shading their eyes, disbelief hardening into something closer to fear. She's actually flying it," the younger one said, voice thin. The red-faced cop said nothing. His jaw worked as he watched the helicopter arc smoothly, sunlight glinting off the windshield. Aisha completed the loop, lined up her approach, and descended. The skids kissed the ground like a thought finishing itself. The rotors slowed. Dust settled. Silence. She climbed out, removed the headset, and stepped onto the concrete. For a moment, no one spoke. The hangar felt smaller now, as if the walls had shifted inward. The red-faced cop cleared his throat. "Beginner's luck," he said weakly. Aisha turned to face him. "If it were luck," she said evenly, "I'd be shaking." She wasn't. He opened his mouth, then closed it. The younger officer glanced between them, uneasy. "So," Aisha continued, "about ownership." The word hung there, heavy. The cop scoffed. "You think a little joyride means..." Before he could finish, Aisha reached into her jacket and pulled out a folded document. She held it up, then handed it to him. "You should read that." He took it reluctantly, eyes scanning the page. His face changed. The smirk drained away, replaced by confusion, then something close to alarm. What is this? He asked. Transfer of assets, Aisha said. Conditional, contingent on demonstrated competency. Signed this morning. You offered the condition. I met it. That's not. He flipped the page, hands trembling. That's not how this works. She tilted her head. It is when you don't bother to check who you're talking to. The younger officer leaned in, reading over his shoulder. His eyes widened. Captain, he whispered, this is real. Aisha met their stares, one by one. I didn't come here to show off, she said. I came because this unit has been misusing equipment, falsifying reports, and grounding pilots who don't fit your idea of who belongs in that seat. She gestured toward the helicopter. I needed proof you'd hang yourselves with your own words. The red-faced cop's voice dropped. Who are you? She smiled then, not wide, not cruel. Just honest. Former military pilot, aviation safety investigator, and as of 5 minutes ago, the legal owner of that helicopter. Sirens sounded in the distance. Not the urgent scream of crisis, but the steady approach of accountability. Aisha stepped aside as unfamiliar officers entered the hangar, badges catching the light. Papers were exchanged, hands were cuffed. The laughter from earlier felt like it belonged to another lifetime. As she walked back toward the helicopter, now quiet and obedient, someone called out, "What are you going to do with it?" Aisha paused, one hand resting on the doorframe. Fly it, she said. The right way. Then she climbed in, closed the door, and for the first time since she'd arrived, the hangar felt exactly as small as it deserved to be.